screen, let me begin first by thanking you, Honorable Senator Gatchalian, for your principled stance on this matter. We are very heartened to hear, number one, your position rejecting the rollback of the annual indexation on tobacco taxes. Number two, your recognition that illicit trade is an enforcement issue and not a justification for lowering taxes. And number three, your support for increasing taxes on vapor products, which we agree with. These positions are evidence-based, pro-health, and fiscally sound, and we deeply appreciate your leadership on these issues. We know that in Congress, sometimes sound science and strong policy do not always prevail. But today, your voice affirms that the Senate committee continues to stand for public interest over industry profit. So we still welcome the opportunity to briefly present the key findings that support your position. If you go to the first slide, please. Both to reinforce the facts and to put on record why several provisions of House Bill 11360 are harmful and must be rejected. On the first slide, we want to make sure that there is no ambiguity. The proposals in 11360 are a tax cut on cigarettes and other tobacco products. If it were to be implemented by 2035, the bill would make cigarettes at least 19 pesos cheaper per pack. That's not even considering VAT and profit margins. 19 pesos cheaper per pack compared to the current law. On the next slide, we want to point out that removing the automatic indexation or lowering the automatic indexation is not a neutral adjustment. Rather, it is a tax cut in real terms. That's an economic concept. When tax rates don't keep up with inflation and income growth, then the real value shrinks, which both weakens the price signal for smokers or the incentive impact, and as well as reducing government revenue. So you'll see that on the slide, that in years when we didn't have indexation, tax collections as a percent of GDP fell in those years, even if nominal taxes increased. In fact, and this was pointed out by several members of this committee, if we are serious about maintaining or even strengthening the public health impact of sin taxes, we respectfully urge the committee to consider, in fact, increasing the indexation tax rate of the tax rate to 10% annually. This accounts not just for inflation, but also rising incomes and purchasing power, and helps to sustain the deterrent effect of higher prices. Next slide, please. Third, we strongly agree and echo your view that illicit trade is a problem of weak enforcement, not of high tax rates. There is no credible evidence, whether from multilateral institutions like the World Bank or the WHO, even from local academic institutions, there is no evidence that tax hikes drive illicit trade. In fact, the real solutions from the evidence suppose that improving enforcement and implementing track and trace systems are the best solutions to curbing illicit trade. In the next slide, we also wanted to show you and point out that the rolling back of indexation would not just be a fiscal issue, but a public health threat as well. Based on our simulation using the TETSIM model, House Bill 11360 would have resulted in an estimated 1.86 million new smokers, or almost 2 million new smokers by 2035, and an increase of over 500 million cigarette packs consumed. As Dr. Tony Dance mentioned, that contributes to an annual economic burden of 750 billion pesos per year. On the fiscal side, next slide, please. The rollback would have resulted in 176 billion pesos in foregone excise tax revenue over the next decade, funds that should have gone to universal healthcare, PhilHealth, and other life-saving programs. Thus, your pronouncement earlier that we are not even considering the rollback in taxes is commended. We commend your proposal that focuses on stronger enforcement and harmonizes and increases the taxes on vapor products. These products, as pointed out by the doctors earlier, are aggressively marketed to young Filipinos and remain significantly undertaxed. So for your consideration, we would also like to float some recommendations. First, in addition to the ad valorem tax on vape devices, we do propose a specific tax to be imposed as well. This would act as a minimum tax floor, ensuring that very low-priced devices, which are often the most accessible to youth and low-income consumers, would still be taxed adequately. Second, we would echo what our colleagues from SIATCA and Health Justice also mentioned on the minimum floor pricing. I think it is essential in any track and trace system that transparent data, which would be made open to the public, to our regulatory agencies, would help not only to ensure that the taxes are effective, but that the industry is not overshifting and using the tax rates as an excuse to capture more profits. If you go to the next slide, Mr. Chair. What we're actually observing, we use data from publicly disclosed financial statements from the SEC, from the tobacco companies, comparing them side by side with government revenues. So it was pointed out that government tax collections are fluctuating, have been fluctuating in the past few years. But we point out that the revenue and profits of the tobacco industry has been stable over that time. So it really does beg the question, if we're collecting less taxes and yet the tobacco industry is generating the same amount of revenue and profit. These are not illicit traders, quote unquote, Mr. Chair. This is the legitimate tobacco industry that's here present today. If they are collecting more revenue and profits, that really does beg the question, if government is receiving less, then where is the money really going? So it's important and crucial to have a discerning view and a track and trace system on this matter. That said, Mr. Chair, we would like to respectfully raise one note of caution. While we fully support the advancement of these discussions to increase vape taxes, we hope that the proceedings are not used at any stage of the legislative process to justify any reduction in taxes on other products, tobacco products. This has been an industry tactic in the past to concede on one front to win rollbacks on another. We are hopeful that you as the committee chair would remain committed and vigilant against these tactics. And we believe it is important to state this for the record, as you have done, that any weakening of the tobacco tax policy in the guise of compromise will ultimately harm both health outcomes and government revenues. Thus, we respectfully place on record our hope that this committee's firm stance today serves as a clear policy signal that protecting public health and fiscal integrity takes precedence over commercial interests. Mr. Chair, on the last slide, we just like to again reflash the next slide. Our final policy recommendations. Number one, to increase the indexation to 10% annually to reflect inflation and income growth and to strengthen deterrent effects. Number two, strengthen tax administration as you have outlined in your policy proposals earlier, including measures on track and trace, minimum floor pricing. And number three, we do support the increase in the tax on vapes, and please do consider having a specific component to ensure that there is a minimum tax floor on vape devices as well. So to close, Mr. Chair, we'd like to thank you for your openness to dialogue and to evidence as well. Your leadership on this issue is not just about this one bill. It will be about defending the health and fiscal future of our country. Your decisions today and in the remaining weeks of the 19th Congress and beyond will send a powerful signal about the direction of the Senate and the government's priorities as well. We are counting on you to continue putting public health and fiscal integrity above commercial interests. Thank you for this opportunity to present your position. Good afternoon.
Maraming salamat. Thank you for that. We now go to importer of vapor products, and we're fortunate that we're joined by proponents of vapor products, or people who are in business of importing vapor products. We invited Mr. Thompson D. Of One Tech Ventures OPC. And I read your position paper, Mr. D, earlier. Wala siya. CR. We'll call on Mr. Principe, Robbie Principe, of Arogin Consumer Electronics. Any comments, Mr. Principe?
Sir, Glenn C. po, Vice President of
Glenn C.
Arogin. I would just like to comment on the taxation. If we level the taxation for freebase and salt nicotine, it would be very detrimental for the sales. It's tantamount to saying that it's going to wipe out our sales, because as it is right now, we're having a hard time. I'm talking in behalf of the legitimate products in the market. We're having a hard time competing with illicit products, because the illicit products are priced at around 300 pesos SRP. And that's close to our cost, our COGS right now. So our price, even the cheapest in the market for the legitimate products, is double than whatever the illicit products are selling. And that's considering the illicit products that are premium pa. The non-premium